sisters. She's an award-winning film and TV director, writer, and producer. Together, they've co-authored a new book, The History of Sketch Comedy. Please welcome Keegan-Michael Key and Elle Key. Lovely to see you both again. Keegan, of course, we've had you on many times.
Yes.
Everybody knows who you are. What people may not know, Elle, is that you and Keegan have been writing and producing comedy partners for years and are married. And the question I need to ask you is...
What?
You're married.
Oh, right, yes. Okay.
I'm sorry you had to find out this way.
Okay.
But how did you think it was a good idea to have a relationship with another comedian? I'm not sure if I could do that because when she said, I love you, I wouldn't know whether it was a really dry bit. How did that happen?
I guess we started trying to figure out working together and producing together and if we had similar sense of humor.
So it was a professional relationship first?
Yes.
Professional relationship first,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
And then romance blossomed later on down the line.
Sure.
So,
did
yes.
HR know about this? What was the spark? What was the moment?
Well, toward the end of Key and Peele, I was trying to figure out what I was going to do next in my career, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was kind of a little adrift. And Elle, being the very good friend that she was, and it still is, was like, well, what is it that you'd want to do? I mean, tell me something that you'd want to do. And I kept on putting limits on myself. And I kept on doing that, and then tell him what you said to me.
So basically, he was trying to figure out what to do, and every time he came up with something, he came up with a reason why he couldn't do it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, what if you could do anything, like if you had a silver platter of whatever you wanted to do, and you didn't put limits on yourself? Mm-hmm. If you could do anything you wanted to do, what would you do? And it took him a while. He was like, well, I would do this, but then I can't because of this, or I can't do it because of that. And I was like, well, what if you didn't have any stories standing in your way? What would you do? And
turned out it was date you.
You're right, yeah. But I was like, that's nice, I like that. And that was kind of the beginning of, the beginning of a spark.
And the first thing he said was Shakespeare, by the way.
Oh,
yeah.
I
I said that I wanted to do Shakespeare and I wanted to be Jason Bourne. Those are the two things that I said.
Come on.
Not at the same time.
Wow.
Not at the same...
The Bourne soliloquy. I want to see that movie in a minute. No, people often say, like, I just want to be with somebody who makes me laugh. Like, do you remember the first time you made him laugh?
Yeah, we had a meeting and we were kind of talking about humor and jokes and stories and TV shows we like that have really high, like, like there's how many jokes in a minute and how many...
JPM, the jokes per minute.
The jokes per minute. And so we were kind of being like comedy nerds, like breaking down the science of what makes things funny or what makes a turn funny. And I told him a joke that I liked, and he had never heard it before, and he really laughed.
Oldie but a goodie?
I don't know how old it is.
What is the joke?
So this really truly is the first joke that I ever told Keegan. And is everyone over 18? Is this...
We're all teed up.
Okay. So there's a little kid and he's smoking, and this old guy comes up to him and he says, you know, smoking, it's really bad for you. You really shouldn't smoke. Like, it's really unhealthy. And the kid says, well, my grandfather's 95 years old. And the guy goes, wow, and he's a smoker? And the kid goes, no, he minds his own business.
Sure.
And that was it.
And then it was straight to Tiffany to get a ring.
Straight to Tiffany.
Okay, now the two of you have joined forces to write a new book called The History of Sketch Comedy. Not a history, the history of sketch comedy. There's historical facts in here about jokes, but it's also part memoir for you, Keegan. What's your first experience with sketch?
My first experience with sketch was Saturday Night Live. I was with my dad one night, and we were watching a sketch, where Eddie Murphy impersonates Stevie Wonder. If you guys remember that sketch, remember that?
Yes, sir.
And my dad was howling, and my dad was typically a pretty stoic guy. He wasn't, you know, the biggest laugher in the world. He was on the floor, just just belly laughs. And I thought, I'm looking at the screen, and I'm looking at Eddie Murphy, and I'm looking at my dad, and I'm looking at Eddie Murphy, and I'm looking at my dad. I'm like, how do I do that? You know, and I mean, that was it for me. That was it for me.
Elle, you started as a performer, but then very quickly went, I kind of want to be behind the scenes. Now, people don't really understand what producers do. It can mean a lot of different things, but producers make shows possible. They make the shoot possible.
I say they're problem solvers.
Great.
What's the problem? Location,
right. And how have
person.
you solved, what, can you remember a time when you solved a problem that you thought was unsolvable?
Well, I'll try to keep it quick, but it's funny, he said Born Identity and Shakespeare.
Yeah.
About a year and a half after he said that, he was in Hamlet at the Public Theater with Oscar Isaac, and I had become very good friends with Doug Liman, who directed The Born Identity, and Doug put him in an action sequence. And along my... He did, it's pretty cool.
That's cool.
And it's not gonna be the last, it's not gonna be the last. So Doug asked if, Doug said, so we were doing this movie called Fair Game with Sean Penn and Naomi Watts, and Doug was directing it, and he said, look, I wanna shoot Logan Airport, I wanna go film Logan Airport in the snow, and there's supposed to be a blizzard on Sunday. But we're not flying to Boston unless the weather's really bad. If there's a blizzard, then we're flying to Boston. If the weather's nice, we're not flying. So we would wait and check the weather. I was like, is it bad enough? Is it bad enough? And we do end up going to Boston, and he has one of those red cameras, and he films through security. He films through the airport.
Are you permitted to do this?
Nothing, no permits, nothing. But I just go find like
But airports are notoriously humorless about these sort of
So
things.
I would just find the biggest cop I could find. I was like, hi, we're making a documentary, and it's not that exciting, and you're probably gonna yell at us. And then the Boston cop would say, well, I'll probably yell at you. And I was like, that's fine. Doug, just go. And then we get on the airplane to go back to LaGuardia. Now it's really...
They let you on an airplane?
With a camera.
With a camera.
Well, Doug's so smart. Doug is like, it's expensive, and it's gonna sit on my lap.
I hope the TSA is watching this. I hope you get on a no-flight list.
You,
Go
Doug.
ahead. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, Doug. So we get on the plane, and Doug is like, I want to film out the window. I want to get the snow plows on the runway, because now it's really snowing. And I was like, wait, don't get the camera out. Just give me 1 second. So I get up, as if I was going to the bathroom. I made this male flight attendant turn around, and I was like, I'm so sorry. The plane is being de-iced, and that's a liquid, but it doesn't freeze. And can you help me understand the process of de-icing? That footage is in the movie, by the way. The footage made the movie.
So what you're saying, a producer's job is to lie. That's what I'm getting. So you guys have the book, The History of Sketch Comedy. You also have a podcast, and you guys, you guys were pitching you were talking about this. You guys were pitching the concept of the podcast to Audible, which goes along with this book. I understand you put him on the spot in a way that you did not expect. What did she say in the meeting?
She said in the meeting, she said, so what we're going to do is we're not going to get any clips of people's voices for this podcast.
No licensing.
No licensing.
None of the
We're not
sketches you guys talk about.
Oh, yeah, we talk about it, and we talk about numerous sketches. And she said, we're not going to do that. We're not going to get any of the licensing. We're not going to get any clips. What's going to happen is that Keegan is going to do every voice for every single character in every sketch that we have. And I said, I'm going to do what now?
I was like, he can do it. He's going to hit this out of the park.
You can do it. And I'm just hoping as we go out here, if you could do you do Paul Lynde?
I can do Paul Lynde.
If you could do Paul Lynde saying goodbye, doing the outro right here.
Okay.
Thank you for being here. Take it away.
Okay.
Keegan.
The History of Sketch Comedy is available now. Keegan-Michael and Elle Key, everybody. We'll be right back with John Carpenter.